There is a distant land in South Pacific, a beautiful tropical island. People who settled there lived in their own tropical paradise. They called themselves Rapa Nui. The ocean brought them there by chance, and the ocean wouldn't let them leave. There was no way out. The ocean gave them food, and the luscious land gave them shelter. The families left behind in Polynesia were out of reach. Day after day, year after year, they've waited on the coast, but the ocean which brought them there was locked in silence. There was no answer to their call, and there was no way out. Centuries have gone by and no one came. Rapa Nui built lives for themselves in this rich land. Families grew and the island was filled with music and art. They've built houses made of volcanic rock. They've sculpted and chiseled, and one day they've got an idea to build a giant lighthouse. They set 1,000 stone sentinels on the coast, staring into the ocean, crying for help for almost 2,000 years. They were named Moai. Spirits of the Rapa Nui ancestors lived in the Moai. Hope lived in the hearts of people who built them. For centuries, Moai stood there crying for help, until one day somebody has finally answered their call. This is Easter Island. Beautiful. These majestic monuments are known as Moai. There are almost 900 of them on the Easter Island. While many are the individual statues located here and there, they all have one thing in common: the platforms on which they are mounted, known as ahu. This one here, probably the most famous one, is called Ahu Tongariki. The size of the tallest moai in this group is a staggering 30 metric tons. It's hard to believe that only 1800 years ago, first people have migrated here. Superb navigators who crossed over 3,000 miles of the ocean from Tahiti, Fiji, and other Polynesian islands. Easter Island is one of the most remote places in the world inhabited by people. Chile is 2,300 miles away to the east, and the nearest land to the west are Pitcairn Islands and Tahiti. Thousands of miles of the open ocean. The island is large enough to sustain a population of 3,000 to 4,000 people. It's a triangle the size of Cleveland, Ohio. It's one solid piece of land, except for these rocky islets at the southern tip. Only birds live there. Of course, the most important objects on the island are the moai. This platform behind me is called Ahu Akivi. It's the only inland group of moai located away from the coastline. The moai here are equal size. Would you like to take a closer look? Most of the statues were carved right here at the volcano called Rano Raraku. They're scattered all over this area. Pay attention to the hands of the Moai. They have elongated fingers. This is the symbol of godlike powers common throughout the Polynesia. How they were transported to the ocean shores is a mystery. People of Rapa Nui say Moai walked. There were some who managed to move Moai, and they have filmed it. Rolling pieces of wood and complicated rope pulling techniques were used. The statues are majestic and beautiful. Some of them reach 30 feet in height. Take a good look. Some Moai have topknots or hats known as pukao. The most probable explanation for pukao is that they symbolize hair. Nice haircut, sir. Climate of the Easter Island is tropical, though not as hot as Florida or Caribbean's. It's South Pacific, and it never snows here, but the winters can be chilly. The seasons are reversed. We are in the southern hemisphere after all. I was here in April 2014. It was the end of the Rapa Nui summer. There are only 3 beaches on the island. Most of the shore is rocky, not easily accessible. Some cliffs are really steep, especially those at the southern end. This is a volcanic island. The best place for a swim is the Anakena beach. It has a convenient parking lot and of course the beautiful ahu called Nau Nau. This moai is called a traveler. It's located at the marina in the busy part of the town. Rano Kau is a large extinct volcano at the southern end of the island. Not much is happening here, although behind me there is an 800-foot cliff with hard landing below. Right there, the village of Orongo, with its stone ceremonial houses dedicated to a cult of a birdman. You can see 3 islets in the distance. They are known as Motunui. The cult of a birdman called for a competition of strong men who in spring would swim to the islets to bring back a bird's egg. The first man who came back with an egg would be a leader of the island until next spring. This volcano, Rano Raraku, is much smaller, but it's much more important. This is where Moai were born. Some of them are still in the rock, ready to leave. The work on Moai took a long time, considering the tools available to people of Rapa Nui. The volcanic rock is relatively soft, and granite tools did just fine for carving. This is one of the larger moai in Ahu Tongariki. I call him
Mr. Bombastic.
What's just happened here? These moai really have mysterious powers. Imagine a first European Dutch ship landing here in 1772. A discovery of a new land must have been a breathtaking experience. Dutch left the island and not much more happened here until some 50 years later. Captain Cook met the people of Rapa Nui and briefly surveyed the land. Thanks to written testimony of Captain Cook's crew, we know how this land looked like at that time. When they arrived here, the culture of Rapa Nui has already crumbled. Many moai statues were toppled. This small land is able to sustain 5,000 to 6,000 people. When Rapa Nui reached almost 15,000 people, the resources such as wood, meat, and crops ran out. A civil war has erupted, and by the 16th century, not much was left of the original way of life. The later story of the Easter Island is a tragic chain of events. The slaver ships arrived, and they have taken almost everyone, leaving behind a mere 100 people, unfit for slave labor. A Holocaust repeated in Europe 150 years later. The international community raised the alarm, and the islanders were eventually returned, yet the harm was already done. Easter Island today is a lively tourist destination in the South Pacific. I was lucky to fly in here in the business class. The Mataveri Airport is accessible to commercial jets. There are daily flights from Santiago in the east and once a week from Tahiti in the west. The island today has a population of around 6,000 permanent residents. Very few of them live outside of the city of Hangaroa. The influence of Rapa Nui culture affects every aspect of life. Here you can see native art on the facade of the Catholic Church. This house uses organically shaped logs for columns. A tourist can find a room here for every budget. I've stayed at the Victoria Hotel in the center of town. One thing that truly amazed me here were stars. At night, the sky is so clear you can see the Milky Way with your own eyes. Can you spot the constellation of the Southern Cross on the left? A written language has not developed on Rapa Nui except for Rongo Rongo. Small fragments of wood with this mysterious writing were never decoded. More abundant are the rock petroglyphs found all over the island. These here, near Ahu Heki, show fish and fishermen. This rock with petroglyphs is in a city museum. The roof of a cave Anakai Tangata near the airport is covered in colorful paintings dating back to a year 900 AD. This is Ahu Vinapu at the southeast end of the island. Moai here are badly damaged. Stone sentinels that convey both strength and tragedy. We misuse and neglect our environment, destroying the circle of life just like people of Rapa Nui did. Easter Island is one of the wonders of the world. Look at this wonderful landscape. Imagine how happy people of Rapa Nui must have been here. The boat-shaped stone formations show the outline of the houses. Nobody knows how they really looked like. And this is a stunning Moai Tahai with his white coral eyes. Horses graze freely on the Easter Island. There is no need for fences, because for horses there is no way out. At Ranoraraku volcano, almost 200 Moai are still waiting for their final destination. A truly breathtaking view. Rapa Nui civilization has collapsed. We may feel alone in the universe just like they did, not knowing about the vast world around them just beyond the big water. We build giant monuments too. We need to protect and respect our world, or else all we'll have left will be stones. Not every shot is perfect in a movie. I've made many mistakes, and sometimes mistakes just came to me on their own. Like, sometimes you get the hiccups. Sometimes you don't know what to do with the remote control. And sometimes you don't know when the camera is rolling, when to turn the on and off button. You don't leave your equipment in the shot. This could have been a nice one. Not anymore. Inhabited by people. Sometimes extras walk on the set, like this friendly kitty. He really liked me. Get out of there, cat. Take two. I apologize for the noises, it's the wind in the background. This kitty really liked me. He wanted to be in this movie. Here, kitty kitty. Nobody's paying attention to me anymore. Get out of there. Once again, I have no idea that the camera is rolling. I've been using a teleprompter. They met the residents of Rapa Nui and breathed. Ah! That was a mosquito. And here are some classic stumbles. In the universe, just like they did, not knowing about the past. This platform behind me is called Ahu Akivi. It's the only inland. They all have one thing in common: the platforms on which they are. Take two. They all have one thing in common: the platforms on which they are mounted, known as Ahu. Still didn't work. To protect and respect our world, or else. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time.